Now, when working with any program, you want to make sure you save your work often. Any program is capable of crashing, or your computer can freeze up or crash, and you don't want to lose all your work. But when working inside this website, again, don't forget this isn't just a piece of software. We're actually inside a website right now creating this image. You can very easily hit this back button, just like any browser. And when you do that, you'll actually lose all your work. You're not going to get a warning asking if you want to leave this page. That's really something that I think they should add into this program. But if you click that, then of course you've lost all your work, and that's quite disappointing. So what we want to do is click File and then Save, and then we're going to get presented with this dialog box right here, which allows us to either save to our computer, or if you want to save to the Pixlr library, you can do so by clicking there and then signing up. It's just a matter of creating a username and a password. Or you can save your images to Facebook, Flickr, or Picasa. But we just want to kind of save our work in progress, so we're going to click My Computer. And then the format is very important. You can name this now whatever you want, but the format should be in this PXD, pixelated image, because this saves all your layers. Any other of these formats, which we'll save to later, this essentially flattens all your layers. So if you make the mistake and save this out as a JPEG and you have 10 different layers that you're working with, and you try to open this up later, you're just going to have one layer, which is that JPEG. So you definitely don't want to save in any other format other than this PXD format while you're working. And again, later on, we'll choose different formats for specific reasons. So PXD, and I'm just going to name this platformer, and then I will click OK. And then we get a dialog box which allows us to save it to our computer. So I'm just going to save this to my desktop real quick. And now our image is saved. So again, take a moment now to save, and then every step of the way save again and again. It takes you a second and will save you a huge headache if you accidentally hit that back button or if something goes wrong with your browser or your computer. So in the last video, we drew out this kind of very basic looking image, which is quite boring. Again, we're just being rough and artistic here, so no worries. But what we want to do is start adding a little bit of foliage or something a little bit more interesting than just these blocks. So to do this, we're actually going to click on the pencil icon that we see here. And when I select that, just as we did for our brush icon, we have options here. So if we select the brush, we get different options. If we select the pencil, we have a few different options to work with here. And what I'm going to do is switch this down to sticky. And you're definitely going to want to explore all of these. For instance, the default one of sketchy gives you something quite amazing. So if I were to just click inside my canvas, you can see this looks like a normal pencil, but as I come back around to my strokes, you kind of see we get this magnetic connection happening between the strokes, which is really quite interesting. And again, when you're creating these kind of experimental artwork levels, there's just no rules here. You can have so much fun creating whatever you want. And this tool is really, really quite amazing. So enough experimentation. I'll just do an undo, Command or Control Z to undo that. And again, I want to switch this from sketchy over to sticky. And what I'm going to do here is just start penciling across, and this is going to give us kind of a grass effect on our platforms. For our ledge here, I can get some vines hanging down. And then for our first wall over here, I'll just go ahead and make it look as if a vine is growing up the wall. So you can see with just one very simple tool, we get some really impressive results, which if we were to try to draw all these pixels by hand, it would take a very, very long time. So I'll just finish this up with our other platforms. I'm just having fun drawing in some pieces of grass and some bushy pieces here. And again, we'll draw a vine going up this wall. And then just finish off with our platform over here. And it's just really amazing and simple how this brush gives us this great kind of grass effect. So have fun kind of messing up your level, but you can see from what we had before, we now have some very, very interesting pieces of grass and foliage to look at on this level. And that's all so far from 2 different brushes. So actually looking a huge step better from the last video. And in the next video, we're going to make it even more impressive by adding in some really interesting lighting.